Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be tuning in live as our ongoing coverage of the EBERSPA FIL Luge World Cup continues from Winterberg, Germany. And I'd like to wish everyone a happy World Luge Day as they are celebrating this sport we love so well all around the world. Those are the medals also at stake here at stop number 6 on the World Cup, as this event doubles as the European Championships being held here at the Veltins Ice Arena. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer, commentating to you solo this weekend from this track in the High Sauerland region of the most popular state in all of Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. A lot of nearby cities, including Frankfurt and Dortmund and Cologne, Dusseldorf, all within a few hours' drive of this little winter sports paradise, Winterberg, Germany, where they have skiing, ski jumping, and of course this track, which has been in operation for nearly a half-century, hosting World Cup and World Championship, bobsled, skeleton, and luge. We're getting set for Team Relay, the 4th Team Relay event of the season on this track, where they will begin at the lower start, as you just saw in our graphic. That's going to be a new challenge for the singles athletes, whose start was 3 curves above that and quite a bit of vertical above. So it will be interesting challenges for the singles athletes as we see 970 meters in that vertical drop. In singles, 14 curves and 1,300 meters of track. So they'll be hitting those first few curves they see today, curves number 5, 6, into the Veltins Kreisel, at an entirely different speed with new challenges. And it's not as if that these athletes have had much training time at the lower start. The doubles, of course, business as usual, and the order, as always, in World Cup Luge will be women's singles, then men's doubles, men's singles, and women's doubles. And the new component this year, if you're tuning in for the first time this season, the very first sled can't just start when they want. The gate will open for the women's singles athlete as well. That's a look at Alina Bota, Team Latvia, 12th place finisher yesterday, and her teammate, Anda Upait, who will be competing in the women's doubles. Latvia were the winners last week at the race in Altenburg as they captured the team relay for the 7th time ever to move into a 3rd place tie with Italy and Austria with 7 career victories. All eyes on these folks here, including Julia Tobitz and Toby Vendel. Each of them won their respective races, with Toby Art yesterday in women's singles and men's doubles, and certainly along with Austria, they will be the favorites today. In fact, on paper, those two teams at number 8 and 9, Austria and Germany, deadlocked, both with victories and 2nd place finishes in each of the races held so far this weekend. They're also the top 2 in the World Cup standings. That will be the way it figures on paper. You also would probably expect Latvia, Italy, and the USA to battle for the 3rd podium position. But as we've already seen, especially in Sigulda earlier this season, all bets are off with the team relay, with challenges, a different start area for some of the athletes, and having to hit that pad coming off of a fairly significant and tricky exit of corner number 14. The opening World Cup Team Relay event, scheduled for Innsbruck, unfortunately had to be canceled due to some technical issues with the track technology. But we've had races in Oberhof, Sigulda, and Altenburg, 3 races so far. 1 more to follow after this event. The final World Cup race will be on the track at the World Cup finale in Beijing. But the next 2 World Cups will feature the mixed singles and mixed doubles competition, so it will be fun to return to that format for the first time since Lillehammer. Team Poland starting things off It's been a shaky start to the World Cup season for Poland in team relay. They had a 9th place last week in Altenburg, but the weekend before that in Sigulda they had a DNF due to a crash by the doubles team. And then in the opening relay, this woman right here, Klaudia Domaradska, failed to hit the pad. So just like that, the first athlete of the first team of the first day of relay competition this season led to a disqualification. Let's hope for better things here as we're underway. Domaradska coming off of a 21st place result yesterday in women's singles. Now the lower part of this course, it's uphill. They've taken the shades off. That's a good sign, but still coming out of the dark. I guess the end of curve 14 is still covered by the shades. As the gate opens for the doubles team of Chmielewski and Kowalewski. They finished 12th yesterday, Wojciech and Jakub Jerzy Kowalewski. Still, as we see, a couple of shades on this track. These little labyrinths are always covered, but portions of the Kreisel and corner 14 have the shades. It's been warm temperatures. It's been uncharacteristically sunny and beautiful all weekend here in Winterberg, Germany. Cleanly to the finish. Team Poland out of the shade, onto the pad. No problems as Maciej Sokovic hits the course, coming off of a 22nd place result earlier today. Canada waiting on deck to be followed by Romania.
Dann ist man hautnah dabei, wie hier bei der Teamstraße in Winterberg. Der erste dieser
Poland starting things off on this team relay competition. Great sounds from the sled as it makes its way down. One more pad to hit before opening the gate for women's doubles. And the regular Polish entry of Nikola Domowicz and Dominika Piwkowska. One of these days I will get the pronunciation of that second name correct. I'm close. The EBERSPA Luge World Cup, and we should add that for years now BMW has been a proud and loyal sponsor to this team relay competition. So in fact, it's the EBERSPA Team Relay World Cup presented by BMW. This could be interesting as the doubles team had a little bit of a back and forth coming up the outrun after crossing the traditional finish line. But they righted it okay and in time to catch that pad, very much at the top of the pad. It was kind of a funky hit of the pad, but all that matters is for the second weekend in a row, Poland does get a finishing time as they look to make some inroads on Canada and Romania and move up the World Cup standings with one race remaining. So as you've heard, I've mentioned a couple of times, it is World Luge Day, and they are celebrating with sledding events all over the world, especially in Austria, where the Natural Track World Championships are taking place in Kutai this weekend. But also World Luge Day is being honored in Korea, Norway, Sweden, at several locations in Germany, planning events, and then of course here at the World Cup and European Championships in Winterberg. Team Canada getting ready now. Ember Lee Susko to lead things off. This is either the first or second time ever in team relay for Ember Lee, as she makes her way down that doubles start ramp with a couple of hiccups, finally settling in. coming off of a 17th place. And a welcome from one of our viewers, Donald Allen, watching from Canada. Good morning, Donald. Thanks for waking up at 3:30 in the morning, wherever you are, or 2:30. As I'm certain it's his daughter we're going to see here in a moment. But Emberly, of note, a top 10 finish in her first ever World Cup race. That was in Whistler last year on the track where Canada will host the World Championships in 3 weeks. So Emberly builds up a 1,500ths advantage over Damaratska, but a little bit of a shaky entrance here by one of the more experienced teams of this Canada relay squad. The doubles team, men's doubles, Devin Wardrobe, Cole Sajansky. The season's best 11th place finish yesterday from the two athletes from Calgary. Cleaning it up now down here in the bottom part of the track. The lower labyrinth, 12, 13, now into 14. Let's see what kind of advantage they give to young Dylan Morse. Not the best outrun, but they lose a little time to the Polish doubles team, so the work is certainly cut out here for Dylan Morse. Dylan coming off of the 25th place result earlier today for Team Canada. Most of the singles athletes for Canada still shift back and forth between doubles, or I should say between the junior and senior ranks in the World Cup. Dylan has some podium finishes earlier this year in junior World Cups. Big skid into corner number 14. That will not cut into the Poland lead as he emerges into the sunlight. Good position to hit that pad and opening it up for Podolski and Allen. Yesterday in just their second World Cup race, these young athletes, both teenagers from Canada, unfortunately had a crash down at the bottom part of the track, so they received a DNF. Canada finished in 6th last week in Altenburg. That was 3 positions ahead of Poland, but it looks as if Poland is going to knock off Canada this time around, unless these two can pick up a lot of time down here at the bottom. Team Canada apparently safely down at the bottom, if not quickly. So they hit the pad, successful completion. That alone is enough to celebrate, as Canada, Olympic silver medalists in team relay back in 2018. They finish. Right now they're sitting in 2nd out of 2 with 7 still remaining.
So, und jetzt, wo das Team komplett hier im Ziel ist, Winterberg, euer Applaus für das Team Kanada.
Canada, with that showing in 2018, it had come so close to Olympic medals in the previous few Olympics, including some 4th place finishes, but finally breaking through. Women's singles, Alex Goff took bronze. And then Canada in team relay, it was Goff and Sam Edney, and the doubles team as well, Walker and Smith, with the breakthrough silver medal at the Olympic Games. But since then, Canada really has been in about a 6-year rebuild phase now. Let's see how things shake out for them as they host the World Championships. But continuing on with these European Championship team relay events, Karina Buzatoy of Romania, waiting for that gate to open. The athletes get a little bit of a warning, red light, yellow light, and then it can be anywhere up to, I believe, 10 to 15 seconds before the gate opens. And it does with a pretty good reaction time for the 20-year-old from Campina, Romania. Buzatoy finished 18th yesterday in women's singles. Relatively speaking, a very good result for the young athlete. Now for the next 3 sleds, their reaction is dependent upon them trying to gauge when the athlete before them will hit the pad. The pad will open the gate, but warning lights are now giving the word to Jitland as their band up above to prepare, and then they have to base it on feel and experience of the track so they can make a quick reaction. And the reaction looked okay. The eyes obviously don't tell you the story, the clock tells you the story. It was the third fastest reaction time, so okay at best for Team Romania.
Unterwegs für Rumänien mit einer guten halben Sekunde Rückstand auf den Team in Polen. Haben die Polen da schon mal Windseil angesetzt? Das sieht ganz so aus.
Already 0.6 of a second behind Team Poland, with still Valentin Cretu and Reluca and Mihaela to come. But some more skidding down here for the doubles team that finished 18th yesterday. Well, a big deficiency, so it's looking like Poland is going to have its best result of the season, unless Romania can do something special here. Valentin Cretu on the track now. Valentin with a subpar performance earlier today, a 24th place finish. Out of the Veltenskreisel, where they've been partying all weekend here in Winterberg. And now the signature exit of 11 into 12, 13. Cretu has done this many times in his long career. So no problems, if not great speed. Hitting the pad and opening it up for the doubles team. Reluca Stramatraru, Mihaela Manalescu, 12th place yesterday. Reluca and Mihaela have had trouble breaking into the top 10 this season, with a couple of results just in the top 10. Of course, when the season began and the field was only 11 deep. Well, the Romanians are handling their splits, keeping up with Canada right now, but more importantly, they're not making any ground on the leading team from Poland. So this will be likely a third place for Team Romania as they hit the pad in third, a distant third. Poland leading the way, Canada moving up one spot, at least relative to their start position. You gotta love the sight of Poland getting a little love in the leaders box, as they will do no worse than top 7. So improvement each week for Team Poland, with a disqualification, a DNF, a 9th, and now at least a 7th. A few more events and they might be on the podium. And as we check out these replays for Romania, it's not unprecedented. Poland has been on the podium before, and it was here in Winterberg. And that was a race where some of the nations just chose not to compete, so we need to qualify that. Okay, the battles for the podiums, at least as we see it, begin now. USA, Italy, and Latvia, they all stand very close together based on their weekend performances, based on their World Cup standings in team relay. Each of the next 3 nations, USA, Italy, and Latvia, have one podium this year. For the Americans, it was a 3rd place finish last week in Altenburg. Leading things off here at these European Championships for USA is Emily Sweeney. Maybe Emily will someday be part of the European Championships, as she's moving to Italy next summer, this coming summer. Although I'm sure she'll always represent the USA in international sport. Quickly and expectedly, the USA is out in front of Poland, and just a few curves into the first sled, that lead is already 3,500s. Now, nothing is certain, and Sweeney was on her way to a podium finish a couple of weeks ago in Sigulda for the team relay before crashing down below. But this is a lot cleaner. She comes off of a bronze medal yesterday in the World Cup and hits the pad safely for the young American team of Mueller and Haukshaw. Top 10 finish yesterday, and they have been regularly in the top 10 in this, their first season on the World Cup. We'll see how much more these two junior world champions can open their lead on a Polish doubles team, Chmielewski and Kowalewski, who put down a very good run. Reaction time for both Emily and the doubles team the fastest. This is something that the USA, without explanation, has done really well. Now, not a great entrance to curve 14 for the doubles team, and they turned the sled over. Now that will hit the pad. In fact, this event is still underway, and Johnny Gustafson could very well put it back into the green, but the United States may have just given away its chance at a podium position due to the crash. Let's hope that doubles team gets out of the track in time. There are race officials lining the entire track, and they can try their best to put the stop on Johnny if there's danger down below, but let's assume there's not. Gustafson, 20th earlier today in men's singles in what basically amounted to one of the poorest showings for the USA in a World Cup race in the last several years, with 20th being the best result. Outrun is clear. Johnny fails to get it back into the green. We expect we will see the doubles team here, the four-time podium finishers this season, Siobhan Forgan and Sophia Kirkby. They quickly get it back into the green with the fastest reaction time, among other things. Now, Siobhan and Sophia also had a season disappointing lowest finish of the year off of the podium yesterday. They're once again opening up this lead, not surprisingly, on Poland. The more lingering and pressing question is, did the crash by the doubles team throw away any chance of challenging Latvia, Italy, Germany, and Austria for a podium position? I would say probably. 1 full second, Siobhan and Sophia make up on the others. Glad certainly to see that the doubles team, Marcus and Ansel, are okay, that they got out of the track okay and uninjured. But that finish time likely will keep the USA off the podium. But bear in mind, the next two teams, Italy and Latvia, have also had their share of mishaps in team relay this season. Well, very impressive for the doubles team to be able to hit the pad. The men's doubles team, that is, despite that crash. Their trouble began entering 14, actually out of 12 and 13, and compounded as Sophia Kirkby, the back athlete, gets that responsibility of holding the sled, and she's helped off the track. Now the Italians. Italy had a relatively better showing than the USA all weekend long, with men's doubles, men's singles, and women's doubles all posting better results than the USA. But it's led off here in women's singles by Verena Hofer. Verena, a little bit of a tap off that left wall. 11th place yesterday in women's singles. What you should expect to see here, your telltale sign is you should expect to see Italy in the red for the better part of the first two sleds. Then it becomes a question of how men's doubles finishes in comparison to the USA doubles team that had the trouble down at the bottom. That's when the tide will likely turn in Italy's favor if it can have the clean runs. Italy, along with Russia, the only two nations to capture World Cup seasons titles in team relay other than Germany. Italy and Russia tied for the championship 1 year, the other 12 seasons. Germany was the season champion. Nagler and Malaya, 7th place yesterday Bear in mind, they're still 3/10 behind the USA. They may cut into that a little bit over the next few splits, as you see they do. And then it should turn green by the time the pad hits for Dominik Fischnauer. Italy looking for its second podium, or its second podium of the weekend, and its second of the season in team relay. Not the best lines here for the Italians, but they're clean enough where they will pass that lead of a half second over to Dominik Fischnauer. So there you get a sense of what the USA gave away, doing a great job just staying on the sled and keeping the relay going, but losing a half second or more. So now Dominik versus Johnny Gustafsson, advantage certainly Fischnauer, who last week had a bronze medal in the World Cup. Earlier today had a 6th place result at the European Championship. Dominik has won one European title in men's singles in his career. Holding steady right now against Gustafsson, not opening it up at all. So Italy needs to get down safely with the doubles team of Vetter and Oberhofer, who yesterday won their first podium of the season, a bronze medal behind Austria and Germany. Of course, this pair of former singles athletes stormed out of the gate when they decided to team up as a doubles partnership 2 years ago. And in each of their first 2 seasons together, they've won the World Cup overall title. Slumping to begin this year, but getting it back together now and opening up another 1/10 of a second on the Americans. Andrea with the second fastest reaction time. This will put Italy into the lead, with the podium still waiting the fate of the next few sleds, next few teams. So 6/10 of a second ahead of the United States. And it'll be tough to gauge how much the USA gave away as a result of that crash. Just based on looking at these split times, it would have been really close. Had Mueller and Hagshaw not crashed, it might have been right down to the 100th of a second between Italy and the US, but I'm not quite sure I can say which of the two would have had the advantage. But right now, despite a couple of shaky lines by Verena, and the doubles team, the men's doubles team, it was a strong finish for Team Italy. They'll sit and wait in the leader box as the Latvians hit the stage up at the top. Big smiles from Andi Vetter. So USA will hang there for a while as the Latvians get ready. The Latvians won the World Cup, their 7th all-time in team relay last weekend, the race in Altenburg. However, a little bit of a subpar performance this weekend for Latvia. Best results were off of the podium. No podium so far. Elina Bota with a 12th place finish yesterday. As far as podiums go, by the way, in the 4 races leading up to this team relay, Austria has 6, Germany 4, and Italy and the USA 1 each. I'm not sure Latvia has been shut out of the podium in any weekend this season. Now, early going, as expected, Bota opening up a bit of a margin on Verena Hofer. Although Verena finished 1 spot ahead of Elina yesterday, and Bota skidding her way through 12, 13 into 14. She cleans it up, but probably loses some time. Let's see this clock color, and it's red as the pad opens the gate for Martin Spatz and Robert Plum. Spatz and Pluma also with a season worst 6th place finish yesterday in men's doubles. They took the World Cup overall points lead into that race. 2/10 of a second they're going to need to make up. They can do it. They can cut into that lead of Nagler and Malaya, but then Krister Zaprios is waiting at the top. stopping the bleeding, a quarter of a second, not perfect lines into 14.
In der Teamstaffel. Schauen wir, wie sie sich am Paddel schlagen.
Great position for Christer Zapriots, maintaining just 2300s back. Christer Zapriots now on course, 10th place earlier today, 4 positions behind Dominic Fischauer for Italy. But it's Latvia cutting into the lead. It was 2300ths when Christer started. His reaction time was the best so far in the race. Now 1700ths. Again, Latvia has been shut out of the podium this weekend, a rarity on the World Cup. But if they come down into the lead, they're not quite assured, but pretty much guaranteed a podium finish. Christer's losing some time to Italy down at the bottom. And so here is the doubles team of Upaita and Kaluma. Now, interestingly, they finished 1 place behind the other Latvian young doubles team in yesterday's World Cup race, but the federation and the coaches made the decision to go with this more experienced team here in the relay. Women's doubles will make its debut at the Olympic Games coming up next winter in Italy. Lots of skids, giving Latvia really no hope remaining to catch Italy. So hitting the pad safely, but in 3rd place behind both Italy and the United States. You've got to believe the Italians are celebrating because they're all but guaranteed a medal now. Ukraine, having been on the podium once this year, still sits in 3rd place in the World Cup standings. And consequently, they get the 3rd to the last start position. But all things being considered, they really don't have the ability to catch Italy in terms of normal times down the track. So for Latvia, really up and down, hot and cold season so far in team relay. They opened with a 4th place finish. Then they were one of several teams with a DNF at the 2nd event on their home track. They come back with a victory last weekend, but now likely off the podium unless we have mishaps for any of the final 3 nations. Team Ukraine, still 3rd in the World Cup standings, although that will come to an end likely today, but they basked in the joy of a terrific World Cup podium performance in Latvia. Just 1 paddle and an easy settle for Juliana Tanitska to start things off. Juliana with one of her poorer showings of the season earlier with a 25th place result yesterday in women's singles. Now, comparable to Verena Hofer, Tanitska right now had the better time for a while and has since fallen 400ths back. Tanitska up the outrun. Half-second disadvantage to the doubles team of Hoy and Kaczmar, who yesterday finished in 16th place. As our action continues here in Winterberg, Germany. The one and only stop this year on a track that's hosted 3 world championships for the FIL in 1989, 1991, and then most recently 2019. As far as other world championships this year in Whistler, then the Olympic Games the following year, and then I believe Germany hosts again the next 2 seasons, 2027. No, Innsbruck, Austria, 27, and then back in Germany in 28. No problem with the pad, and no problem earlier today for this man, Anton Dukash. A season's best 8th place result for the Ukrainian, who really has been coming on the last couple of years. Relatively speaking, the podium hasn't been challenged, but Anton, over the past 4 or 5 seasons, went from 24th, 25th place results into the teens, then some top 10s, including last year at the World Championship in Altenburg, and then a season's best 8th today. All that said, no issues in his attempt to try to catch Dominic Fischnaller of Italy. So the day will come to an end for Anton Lukács. Another clean run, but a 2-second deficiency, as Ukraine could very well be looking at a 5th or 6th place result when all is said and done after this final doubles team of Stechka and Molk. Midway down, out of the Veltenskreisel, 10th place result yesterday. So the Ukrainian magic in team relay finally brings them back to reality. Decent runs, but not keeping up with the powerful nations of Germany, Austria, USA, Italy, and Latvia. To the finish, good to see. We've had all of the first 7 countries come down cleanly. Just the one crash by the American double sled, but even they were able to cross the finish line okay and give their team a finish time. Italy officially now on the podium for the 2nd time. So that's good news for Team Italy. 4 podiums now this season for the Italians. 2 here in the team relay to go along with women's doubles and Dominic Fischnaller's men's singles bronze medal. All of those podiums bronze, but they'll look to move up here with 2 nations remaining. So as we get one last look at Team Ukraine, they're back in 6th place out of the 7. It's Italy leading over the USA and Latvia. Now the 2 most powerful nations in the sport of luge, Austria and Germany. Together, these 2 countries have combined for 10 of the 12 podium positions this weekend in the singles and doubles races. Really, it is a neck-and-neck competition based on the fact that the Austrian results include 2 wins and 2 second-place finishes, and the Germans coming up next, also 2 victories and 2 seconds. To lead things off, here is Madeline Egler. Madeline, 2nd yesterday to Julia Tobitz. She has 3 victories this season on the World Cup. Already a huge advantage over Verena Hofer. That's no surprise. The Egler sisters are the ones to put your money on, as they will likely open up big leads on the Italians. You'll probably see the same from Jonas Müller in men's singles as well. In fact, all of these teams with better results than all of the Italians early today. Now in the finish curve, up to the traditional finish line, now hoping to hit that pad. You've got to do it with 4 kgs of force in order to open the gate, as they do, for the World Championship doubles team of Juri Gott and Ricardo Schoff. Austria currently in 2nd place in the World Cup standings, 25 points ahead of Germany, so they would need to finish 2 spots ahead of Germany today in order to retake the overall points lead. First things first, get down safely, get down cleanly, and now the doubles team who will wear that World Championship bib for at least another couple of weeks until we head to Whistler, Canada for this year's Worlds. Now uphill, no problems, clean line to the outrun. Let's see what kind of lead Müller gets. Nearly a half second for the man who earlier today won on the World Cup for the 7th time in his career. And Jonas made it look pretty easy with a track record. After taking a week off, he didn't race in Altenburg last week. Didn't feel confident on that track. And some might say, well, you've got to keep plugging away and get better and get more experience. But Jonas told me Quite simply, the goals this year are the European Championships and the World Championships. And he wanted to have his confidence, and he has checked off that first box earlier today, capturing the European title. No problem. How big a lead? 0.6 of a second. And Egla and Kip can certainly double that if they put it all together here. Coming off of 5 consecutive wins on the World Cup, Selena and Lara are the clear leaders in the World Cup points, and this is the 6th World Cup out of 9 this season. Now, they're not opening up that much on Italy and Vetter and Oberhofer at this point. The reaction time is only the 3rd fastest, a little bit of a skid here. So uncharacteristic trouble for Austria. Now they will hold on to their spot, no worse than 2nd place. But have they taken the pressure off of Germany? Not too sure. Selena and Lara have done very little wrong this year, but their doubles run might have been the fastest so far, but it looked like they gave away a little time down at the bottom. A great look at the spikes on the hand, the precision needed with not 1 but 2 athletes trying to be in synchronization with agreed upon in advance number of paddles. Both the top man and the bottom athlete are responsible for steering to a degree, at least for the bottom person, with weight distribution and understanding of the upcoming corners. As Luge Hall of Famer George Hackl and Peter Pence hug down at the top for Team Austria. They have the lead. Austria and Italy are officially on the podium. The USA is on the outside looking in, hoping for some sort of mishap for our final nation of Team Germany. Don't expect it on a track where all 6 of these athletes have plenty of experience over the years, and even this season, as the German National Championships were held on this track in December. Now smiling Julia, the 4-time World Cup overall champion, Julia Tobitz, having issues hugging that right wall through each of the few start curves. Again, he reminded that for all of the singles athletes, this is a brand new start location this weekend. Their traditional start is much higher on the course. They need to come down here for the relay, and as a result, they really get no training time. All they can do is just look, visualize their start. Julia had some trouble. She is still 0.3 of a second behind Madeline Egla, but look for the Tobys to do something big here in a moment. No problem with the pad, and actually Julia picked up some time on Egla down at the bottom. Now the greatest in the history of this sport. 3 Olympic gold medals in doubles, 3 more in team relay, the most hardware ever in this sport. The 2 Tobys, the Bayern Express, Tobias Wendel and Tobias Alt. Yesterday, not only did they capture their 5th European Championship, they moved into 1st place all time in the history of the World Cup with their 55th career race win. Still, they're having trouble trying to cut into this Austria lead. Now 2300s back. Max Langenhahn standing by at the start. Looked like a pretty quick reaction for Max, who was 4th fastest of the 9 to come down the track. This is the final team, the final nation, 2 more sleds, as the Germans look to win on the World Cup for the 51st time in team relay. But Max will have all he can do to try to keep it close to Jonas Müller. And he's not really picking up much, just 100th from the 1 interval to the next. Earlier today, Max finished in 2nd behind Jonas Müller. Max and another Austrian, Nico Gleicher, are currently tied for the World Cup lead with 3 races remaining in men's singles. Let's check out that split time. Nice job down at the bottom for Max Langenhahn. It's still a tenth of a second for the doubles team to make up, but certainly Jessica Degenhardt and Cheyenne Rosenthal can do that. They finished behind Austria yesterday in women's doubles, but we saw Selena Egla and Laura Kipp had some problems on the lower part of this track. The bottom athlete here, Cheyenne Rosenthal, the only member of the World Cup Germany program who calls Winterberg, and this track here, her home track. 4 different tracks in Germany. We're off to Oberhof again next week. Still just a tenth of a second and a skid. So this looks like it will be an Austrian victory here in Germany. As the pad hits, the Germans cut into the lead at the bottom, but surprisingly, Austria has won this race, this World Cup team relay. It's Austria's second win of the year, and with that, they will cut closer into Germany's lead in the World Cup. Exciting finish to this race. A shrug of the shoulders by Jessica and Cheyenne. A tough weekend. I called them bridesmaids yesterday because they've finished in second place in 5 of the 7 races this year. Once again, second place here in the team relay for Jessie, Rosie, the Tobys, Max, and Julia.
7th place for Canada, 8th place for Ukraine, 9th place Romania. Also ein Wahnsinnswettbewerb hier zum Abschluss am Weltrodetag in Winterberg in der Felddienst-Arena.
So an exciting finish. Germany will hang on to the World Cup lead in the points, but just by the slightest margin over Austria. Remember, there's only one more team relay remaining on the calendar this year. Look at the look of Selena Egla on the left. A bit of surprise because she thought maybe she and Laura had given it away, and we saw Germany cutting into that Austrian lead from top to bottom until the very end. So once again, Hackel and Pence with the hugs as Austria captures it and moves all alone into 3rd place all time. That's Austria's 8th World Cup team relay championship. Ahead of them with 12 World Cup wins in team relay, Russia, and well ahead of everyone, Germany was 150. As you can see, both doubles teams and Max did their job, but it was Madeline Egla for the women's singles for Austria, building up enough of an advantage to give them the victory over Germany and Italy. The USA, despite a crash, still ends up in the top 4, and Italy, USA, and Latvia will all jump up, likely into 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place in those World Cup standings. Now we'll wait for the winner's presentation. We've got interviews upcoming. We'll have a little bit of a hold as today's race is being aired live on Germany TV, and Germany television has the priority to get those 6 athletes in for the interview. But we'll certainly hear from the Austrians and the Italians as well. A little bit of a letdown, I would say, for Germany to not win with the live TV. But they still, as you see, hold the slimmest of advantages as Germany and Austria are well out in front of Latvia. And to correct things, Ukraine still stays in the hunt for now. And that all harkens back to 2 weeks ago in Sigula, Latvia, where Ukraine was one of only 3 teams out of 9 to make their way down the course and actually record a finish time. In that race, Latvia, the USA, and Italy all had DNFs. Well, it all started with Madeline Egla, as the Egla sisters' success continues on this World Cup circuit. It will be very interesting to see how Austria and Germany fare as we head to the World Championships. One more stop before those races. That's next week in Oberhof. But with the World Championships, what's great about a race not held in Germany or Austria is the field is equalized. And obviously, Canada is still rebuilding, but they figure to put in some surprising top 10 results. The Americans have done well in Whistler over the years. Italy will certainly show that it's making more progress now. Latvia as well. So expect some really interesting and fun results at the World Championships. Next week we head to Oberhof. It will be the second stop in Thuringia this year, and the second time this season. We have the mixed singles and mixed doubles events in the maiden season of this new luge discipline. If you missed it in Lillehammer, you'll want to check it out. One great component of the mixed singles and mixed doubles is it does not need to be nation specific. So if you have athletes such as Natalie Mogg of Switzerland and Alex Ferlazzo of Australia, Veronica Ravenna, Argentina, Elsa Desmond of Ireland, they're one-person national teams, but they get to pair up with other athletes from other countries, Japan as well, and we'll see them compete next week. That'll be a lot of fun. 18 athletes standing there on the
Madeleine,
podium.
congratulations. Your team colleagues just said you made it happen for them. Gold in the World Cup and European champions. What a run was that? How do you feel?
Well, it's not me. It was the whole team. We all made it, because if no one, like Selina and Lara, had the biggest save I've ever seen, I guess. And we all did our best. So I guess we can be so happy about this. And I was also happy that I could, like, clean up my mess after Altenberg.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Great point by Madeleine. She had the fastest time of all of the Austrians, but it takes 4 sleds and 4 sleds to make it to the pad in order to have a finished time. Third place goes to Latvia, and it looks like they might be down there ready to do an interview with Patrick, as we'll stand by and we'll wait to hear from the third place and second place teams. Again, Austria winning this team relay. All right, they're all there at the podium, and FIL General Secretary Dwight Bell has traveled in from Atlanta, Georgia, to pass out the headbands. 18 of them. And for several of these athletes, it's 2 headbands they've won this weekend in their respective doubles, singles, and relay races. And last I checked, each of these athletes only has 1 head. So they will be celebrating with the traditional awards given out here, the Velton's beer. I do miss the fact that the athletes used to shake up their bottles of beer and then spray everyone else. It was always a lot of fun, except for those races where I was doing the interviews down below. We're still standing by waiting for interviews from places number 2 and 3 if we get them. We'll try our best. But we'll set the stage for the rest of the season. I'll be joined by other guest athlete co-commentators once again next week as we head to Oberhof. Then the athletes all head to North America. They get a full week of international training on that 2010 Olympic track in Whistler prior to the World Championships. As these athletes continue to get better and faster, it will be interesting to see if at some point they move those start locations up a bit from their lower areas on the Whistler track. Beautiful location. I know a lot of you who are watching today are planning to travel to Canada. Virtually every parent and family member of the North American athletes, and I know a lot of the European families have also told me they're heading to Canada. Bring your skis and boots as well. Also bring your checkbook, because it's not one of the less expensive areas to be in for a holiday weekend.
Ich finde, da können wir alle noch mal die Kuhglocken, die Trölen, die Sie sehen, die Rasseln, also alles, was an diesem Wochenende hier war. Ja, packt das Material noch mal aus, lasst sie noch mal hochleben. Winterberg, ihr könnt doch noch, oder?
This is the European Championship. All they do is they boot the Americans off of that leaderboard as Austria leads over Germany and Italy. No change among the top 3, but the other 4 nations move up 1 rung. Now, as far as the USA and the Asian competitors for that matter, traditionally each season they also hold a Pan-Pacific Championship event, which includes all of the athletes from Japan, Korea, China, Argentina, Australia, United States, Canada, a few others. And I'm not quite sure where that event will be, but it would likely be the second to last stop in Pyeongchang, South Korea. Waiting to see still if we're going to get a few interviews. No word from the truck on that. So we'll be watching that podium area alongside you as we wrap up a great weekend of racing here in Winterberg. Unfortunate that all of the athletes have to be in the shade because this has been a rare weekend of sunshine here in the Hochsauerland. And the Kappa Mountain off to the left side of your screen. As usual, they put on a good party. With really, we thought the crowd that we saw in Sigulda was the biggest of the year. But here in Winterberg, it may be even a larger group of luge fans that have traveled to this race. Now it looks like Patrick is getting set for the interviews as we send it right back down.
Tobias, congratulations, Germany, P2. It was a very hard track. You missed out just by a bit. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was an amazing track. The weather was great. We never had this in our career here. The beautiful conditions and the fast track. Yeah, congrats to the Austrians. They won today and they were pretty fast. I had not the good reaction time today, but we are a team, and Julia had a little problem on the start, but that's team relay. So we're happy with the second place, and let's go to Oberhof.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Love it from Toby, as he's the first to mention the weather this weekend. In his words, this is weather we've never seen here. And finally, we have the Latvians, or the Italians rather, also on the podium. Looks like Dominic Fischnaller getting set to be interviewed by Patrick.
Dominic, congratulations, Italy on P3 again. It's the second time the team is on the podium. What was it about this track that you're so good here?
I mean, we had all pretty decent single results and we work well as a team. It's fun once we can slide in the team relay, and so I guess that was the key to make a medal today.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dominic Fischnaller, along with his fiancee, American Emily Sweeney, both on the podium this weekend in Winterberg. So we conclude things with Austria taking 7 podium positions, Germany with 5, 2 for the Italians, and 1 for the USA. That puts a wrap on another great weekend of sliding here on the EBERSPA Luge World Cup. Great shots and sounds as always from our FIL television crew. So until we meet again in 6 days from Oberhof, Germany, saying so long from Winterberg, I'm Tim Singer. Thanks for joining us.